Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Art of Awesomeness podcast. This is episode 57.
Dang. Sorry.
I'm your host, Adrian Kiswani, accompanied today by our also host, Christian Caito. Welcome, Christian.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. We do, of course, have the first order of business. We have a pretty cool episode for you guys today. But first, happy National Retinol Day. I think that's how you pronounce that, right? Maybe. I don't know. I don't care. No. Now we have to read. Okay.
Oh, it's drugs.
Oh, sweet. Happy National Retinol Day, which is the most popular anti-aging skincare ingredient.
Dang. In the world.
Man, this is boring. Okay. You don't know about that. Happy National Bittersweet Chocolate with Almonds Day.
Oh, man.
So,
dude,
chocolate with almonds.
Bitter.
I like chocolate. I like almonds.
I like both.
Those are
Did
pretty
you know?
good.
Apparently, are they good for you or bad for you?
Almonds?
Yeah,
they're good.
No,
there's nothing wrong with them.
Okay.
Yeah. They're just not. Okay. Also, happy National Canine Lymphoma Awareness Day. I'm tired. If you have a dog and it has lymphoma, be aware. Happy National Daylight Saving Time Ends. Some people love this. Some people hate this. I don't care.
What?
And yeah.
What do you mean?
Kind of indifferent. I mean,
you don't like daylight savings?
No, I don't mind it actually. I don't care.
You don't? Well,
yeah,
now we
really
get
don't.
an hour, I think.
Yeah, people. I think there's like movements to either get rid of it or to keep it.
Dude.
I don't
no,
really.
It's a real thing because there's like, I guess there's like this whole thing about farmers don't like it, and there's like this psychological, like it's not good, I guess, for like your body,
well, like
somehow.
For that one day, like I know that there's more car accidents. When
yes,
you have like that 1 hour takeaway of sleep.
That one.
But I don't really see how people can't just prepare by getting like an extra hour.
The instant it hits 12 a.m. on daylight savings, you're just gonna.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you really don't like it, then okay.
Sign up. There's a petition. There's plenty of petitions. Hop
on one and then do your thing. Do your thing.
Do I sound good, by the way?
Yeah, you sound. But I was listening back to last episode and I sounded way too loud. I think.
You do?
I think so. So
no, now you sound too quiet. Yeah,
do I really sound too quiet? Okay.
Closer.
How's that?
Good.
That's fine. Okay.
I think we're both good. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool.
So, Adrian, what are we talking about today, bro?
Well, today we're gonna be talking about. So we haven't gotten a formal request to answer this question, but I basically looked at when we were trying to come up with the idea for this video. I basically just searched up common questions that people ask for advice on. Like common questions people have. And so the whole hope for this podcast that we would have enough viewers and listeners that they would send in like questions, I'm having an issue with this in my life, or I need a secondary opinion on this, or I would just like to hear a perspective on whatever. And then we would basically be able to kind of give our input, our honest advice from the Bible, from our own personal experiences, what you might want to do going about whatever situation, right? So we haven't gotten those, and so that's sad.
No, okay, hold up.
Okay, we've gotten some. To be fair. No, from like Sophie and stuff like that. Like we've gotten.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. We don't mean to throw you guys in the bus. Look, this is for you guys, and we're regardless, we always come up with an episode that seems to get some good feedback so far. So we're really grateful for that. And
absolutely, yeah.
There's probably people out there that probably aren't able to send out to us. Maybe you're shout out to the Netherlands.
Yes.
By the way, you guys are listeners,
there.
And everyone else that's been listening. I can't believe we have this many listeners.
That's actually really cool.
We have more listeners from out of state than we do in the state, and
that's true.
I'm so happy you guys are along this journey with us. So for those of you guys out there, you guys already know what's the deal. So if you haven't, we're on YouTube too. Everything, you can find us pretty much down below there when it comes to sending us questions. Yeah. At least, but for those out there, you know what, we're gonna keep pumping stuff out, but we do encourage you guys to keep sending us stuff because it helps us make the podcast better. Helps us revolve around what you guys want to hear more. So if you can, we'd love to hear from you guys.
It helps it to be a bit more tailored. And what I basically figured with this episode is obviously we didn't get these from our listeners per se. Yeah. But these are still common questions people ask. And so it's kind of like that that kind of idea in school. Like if you have a question, raise your hand because maybe someone else in that class has the same question, and you might answer it for the class because they were wondering, but they just didn't want to put their hand up.
Yeah.
So I had the idea maybe people just don't want to reach out because they're embarrassed or something. So maybe let's just start answering some questions.
Okay.
That hopefully apply to.
That's true.
General people. So I have a list here.
Before we say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anything you guys send us, if you can, we will assume it is anonymous until you say otherwise.
Yes. So
just saying that out
if
there.
you send it and you say, hey, my name is blah, 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 this is my problem. If we talk about it on the podcast, your name isn't going to be talked about unless you explicitly say, I'm cool with it. So
yeah, so just
don't worry about
let's
that.
get into it. Sorry to interrupt.
No, all good. So the first one that we came up with that we found was how to maintain focus on specific goals.
Focus.
Yeah, I figured that one out. Let's just kind of, yeah.
Sorry.
Yikes. This is... no, all right.
Adrian. Sorry. Adrian.
Yeah.
Man, this is a good one.
I think so too.
College, anyone out there.
Anytime.
It's hard to lose focus, especially, oh my gosh. Can you believe in the age we live in? It's always bargaining for our attention. Everything wants our attention.
Yeah.
So it's depending on how you use it and where it goes to, where you invest it in. It's monumental, Adrian.
It's huge.
It's monumental. What is one way you stay focused? You maintain your focus?
Well, I'll tell you one. First, I'll kind of list off some of the common problems that people tend to run into when they're trying to stay focused on tasks. It's kind of like you said, in this day and age, there's distractions all over the place. So whether that be Instagram or whether that be your text messages
TikTok,
or
phones,
if it's
family,
TikTok.
friends.
I don't use TikTok, so I have that luxury of not using TikTok. But for those of you who do, I know that can probably be. Is it addicting?
When I'm bored, yeah.
Okay.
It can be.
So basically, social media, in a nutshell, is a huge source of it. I mean, obviously there are some distractions that you're going to have to attend to. If it's family, if there's a certain situation that, you have to take care of something, then you got to put down whatever you're focused on. Like take care of whatever you got to take care of. I get that. But I think that there are certain things in your life like social media and just those kind of little distractions that basically just keep you occupied.
Yeah. That always,
that kind of snag you away from other things that you could be doing that are probably better for yourself in the long run. And so, and I use Instagram, but for example, when I was in high school, I just basically forbid myself from ever getting any kind of social media on my phone. I just didn't do it. And the reason I didn't do it was because I knew that I wanted to focus on high school and I wanted to make sure that I could get all of my stuff done and not have that distraction. Because I would always hear people talking like, hey, I was going to get this done, but then I started, calling someone or, DMing someone on Instagram, and then we started playing
Instagram,
a game or something like that on our computers, and then we just lost track of time or whatever. Like I can't tell you how many times people have basically just in class been scrolling on Instagram instead of doing an assignment. Like I get it, it's fun or whatever, and it's you can find some pretty cool stuff on Instagram. Like I find cool artwork sometimes. I'm like, oh man, that's cool, and I'll save it or whatever. But I think that it's important in your life to understand your priorities, which is kind of my next point. But to make sure that you're trying to get out these little distractions in your life that mainly surround social media. So if you notice that that's your problem, I would recommend, if you really are just dead set on like a goal or something like that, either get some discipline and limit your time on those things or just delete them for a certain stint of time. Yeah. Whatever that is. Like if you have a month-long goal, delete Instagram for a month if it's really that big a deal.
So like removing those things that, take a lot of the energy that you would need to do other things that are more effective.
Yeah, and I'm just using social media as an example. There's obviously other forms of distractions out there, whatever they are. Yeah. But I just know that that's the most prevalent one. So I know that's probably going to be the most relatable. Yeah. So that's just kind of what came to my mind. Second would just be, so the actual advice part, as far as staying on your goals, would just be to list out your priorities. Like whether it's on like a notepad or a doc, or you have like a whiteboard or something, just list out, like I did this recently, list out your goals.
You mean goals for
yourself, and then chunk them. Like have long-term goals that are maybe like 5 years, 10 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Have middle goals. I don't know exactly what you call them, but have goals that are kind of in the middle that are maybe like 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then have short-term goals, which might be like this week or today.
Okay, so you're saying have goals for different amounts of time. Like goals for today, goals for this week, months, and then like even big picture. Basically,
okay. Organize your goals and then prioritize.
You're really good at that too. I know that. Yeah,
because
you're really good at that.
What you want to do, essentially, what you don't want to have happen, in my experience, because I've done this, is basically just list out a bunch of goals on a piece of paper in no order, right, with no real priority set. Like, hey, I want to move here someday. Mm-hmm. And then that's like right next to finish this homework assignment today. Mm-hmm. And it's like those two are not on the same level. You know, if you want to move to another state and then you want to finish your math assignment, those aren't on the same goal level.
So have like prioritize your priorities.
Them. Yeah. So I would basically say, here's my list of stuff to do today. Like I always have a to-do list for the day. Then I have my short-term goals, which are like a week to a month.
Okay.
Then I have midterm goals, which are like 6 months to a year. And then I have long-term goals, which are like 5 to 10 years. Okay. In the future.
Yeah. I see that.
And so break it up. Break it up. And what that'll do is that'll help kind of declutter your mind. Mm-hmm. And you won't have to try and figure out, wait, what's more important right now? Like sit down, take a minute, and then really think about what is important to you. What is the thing that you most prioritize doing, right? That you'd want to achieve in whatever time frame you're putting it in. And then put everything else beneath that and keep doing that until you have a set number of priorities and in an organized way, so that you're not, because I've sat there and asked myself sometimes, what even is my goal? You know, I'm doing a bunch of these things that I think are good or productive or they're self-improvement kind of a thing, but I don't actually have a long-term goal. Like I'll lift weights, but it's like, am I trying to reach a target weight?
Or are you just shooting for nothing? What's that quote you said about
it's kind of hard to shoot what you're not aiming for, right? So it's like, if you're trying to put on weight, put on muscle, or if you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to get to a certain body fat level. I'm using workout terms, but anything. If you just say, I want to lift some weights today. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. And you don't have any kind of goal or set like date of what you're trying to do. You're basically just shooting random stuff off into the distance, hoping it hits something eventually, which it's not, you know? Yeah. And so I think it's better to actually have a target in mind, prioritize it somewhere on your list. And then once you have that in place, you can actually take like legitimate steps to get to that goal.
You know, I want to piggyback on what you said. I know two things kind of came up when you said that, because that's a good way to do it. I think I haven't. Adrian's a lot better. You're a lot better at doing that stuff than I am when it comes to writing it down, which is something I should do more. I have different ways of maintaining focus on goals, but based off of that, I think a benefit off of writing things down like that is when you write your goals down, you can kind of see if they kind of align. And you know, like when you write everything down, like at the end of the day, you write down what you want to do today, tomorrow, this month, this year, and like in the larger scheme of life, like is there any one of these goals that maybe don't align with what I really want to be chasing right now? Oh yeah. So and then you can make adjustments too, and that could be helpful to write that down, because sometimes it's easier to have these things written down and, you know, reflect off all of them all at once than just thinking of one thing and then thinking of the next. And then, you know, that was one thing. The other thing I thought of when you said that is when it comes to having like concrete.
That's a good question.
Concrete. Who says concrete? Concrete goals. Yeah. It's easy. Not only are you shooting for something that more than most times is attainable, but once you do get it, I guess it's easier to reflect on. Because I think that when you're chasing something that you don't know when you don't know what you're chasing, you're just running. Yeah. It's hard because you can get lost in that process of wondering, like self-doubt. There's like all these flurry of emotions that can go on. Right. And that could just throw you off completely because you don't really know what the end goal is. You're just running to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. You're not running to finish a lap. You're just running to run.
Exactly.
So I think when you have that goal of having something concrete, and something that you can reflect on, it gives you motivation because you know that. I think when you don't have something like that, that's like so set, it's like, maybe we'll never attain it. But when you see this, Adrian, you're using an example of losing weight, or not losing weight, but muscle,
or gaining weight, or whatever.
So I'll use a different example to kind of make it more so for me, when it comes to like reading a book, I'm trying to get into reading, so I don't just read to read. And I set goals. I want to at least do one book a month, and that way when I'm reading, I know I'll be like, okay, how far am I when it comes to attaining this, so I won't feel a lack of motivation. Is okay, I'm almost done. I just need to finish this one, and I'll focus on the next thing. But right now, it's just this book this month.
Right.
Instead of not having a book and being like, okay, how much longer do I have to keep doing this? Will I almost be done? Because it's So writing those goals down, I think, can be good for just self-reflection, really, and seeing what lines up, and for your own sake, like not losing that motivation. And it can only be helpful. I think that's a good tip.
For sure. And I'll give you an example of one that I just did recently. Like I read the book of Proverbs every once in a while, like when I need some wisdom, right? But I've never actually read it cover to cover. Like I've never read the entirety of the book of Proverbs. So like a couple weeks ago, I told myself I'm going to read one chapter of the book of Proverbs, starting from chapter 1 in the morning, another chapter at night, and I'm going to do that until I finish the entire book. So I had a goal and I had a means to attain that goal. Yeah. Goal being finish the book of Proverbs, means of that goal being one chapter in the morning, one chapter in the evening. And just do that until you reach that goal. So immediately you have a goal and a means to it, right? Yeah. And so I ended up getting so into the habit of reading it a chapter in the morning and a chapter at night, to the point where I even stopped actually looking at the end of the book. And so when I reached the end, it was actually a surprise. I didn't know that I'd finished it. I just kind of turned the page one day. I was like, wait, that's it? Yeah. And so, that's just kind of a recent example of where I was trying to build some level of consistency. And the way I did that was basically by just reading 2 chapters, technically, of the book of Proverbs every day until I finished it. And I had that goal in my head every day. I was like, I'm going to finish this book. I'm going to get everything. I'm going to make sure that I've read it all. Obviously, I'm not going to gain all of the knowledge in one reading. Obviously the Bible, you want to read it multiple times, but at least to make sure that you've got like that whole book under your belt. That's a nice feeling.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That was a recent example.
Yeah, see, writing down, that's a good one.
Yeah. But I don't know what the next actual topic is. We'll find that out. But you're going to find out right after this quick intermission, so enjoy.
A harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very, very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. And you also see that, like one of the central female stories, let's say, if the hero archetype is the central male story, there are variants of hero archetypes that are relevant to women, and one of them is Beauty and the Beast. And Beauty isn't interested in the guy who isn't the beast. She's interested in the guy who's the beast, and that's exactly right, but she's interested in the guy who's the beast that can be civilized and disciplined, right, and who can use that in the service, well, let's say, of a family. And that's exactly how it should be.
No. All right. Welcome back from the intermission, everybody. So, Christian,
we were talking about before we went to our next topic. I just want to say one more thing about staying focused, and one that you actually gave me the idea of doing. One thing that helps me stay focused is a motivation board. Motivation board. What is it? Basically, a collage of different things. It could be quotes, things you print out online, pictures, literally anything. Nice. Make it your own. You can color. I've seen some people paint it like completely. It doesn't have to be one thing. Mine's like one of those little pin bulletin boards, and I just pin like pictures that relate to things I want to do or where I want to be or what I want to feel like. Even just anything that might stir something up in me. And what that does is I see it every morning. It's like at my desk. And when I wake up, it's the first thing I see, and it kind of just, sticks with me over time. Or sometimes I put little sticky notes, or I know I'll see them like the mirror,
right?
And maybe it's a Bible verse, or maybe it's maybe it's just a quote that I like that kind of stirs something in me too. So, motivation board can be anything. Make it your own. It can be a whiteboard, a pin board. It doesn't even have to be a board. You could draw on your wall, I guess, if
you're feeling frisky.
That's what you want to do. Make it your own, but make sure the point of it is something where you can see it every day and it stirs something in your, or it ignites kind of an interest of yours.
Yeah.
In relation to a goal, self-improvement, whatever that is. Make it consistent and make it effective. That's the last one for me.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Wow, thank you. Wow. I feel like Tony Robbins.
Who's that?
Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker. No. He has a mustache. I don't know if that helps.
No, it does not.
Next.
All right. Next one was a topic that you brought up. Actually, it was procrastination.
Yes.
Christian and I were texting each other ideas, and Christian's was how to overcome procrastination, and I think what was it? Slumps. Right.
Bio. Yes, exactly. How to overcome procrastination. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I love it. Because I'm talking about it right now with my friend Adrian, my best friend.
Hey, nice.
Oh.
Sorry. But yeah,
Adrian,
procrastination. That's a good topic.
First?
I want to procrastinate and just no.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, you want to go first? You go first.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So procrastination is my best friend. I love procrastination. It's the best thing ever, and you should do it.
It loves you.
I highly recommend it. We really don't have anything bad to say about it, to be honest. It's actually great.
Yeah, I love it.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know procrastination. What is it though? In case people don't know, what is procrastination?
If you don't know procrastination,
we'll tell you later.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Procrastination. Basically, you're putting off doing something you should do.
Yes, that's it.
Basically. So, how do you get around this?
Ding, ding.
I think the best idea that I can come up with to avoid procrastination is to essentially just kind of, and it's difficult, right? But in the moment, acknowledge the fact that you're putting something off, and that you're eventually, if it really is something that you have to do, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter whether you do it now or then. It's probably better now, right?
Because you're going to have to do it eventually.
Yeah. So if you're, the best thing you can basically try and logically kind of snap yourself out of it is just basically to convince yourself, hey, this is like Thanos. It's inevitable. So just do it. Oh my gosh. I had to throw it in. I'm sorry,
Don't
guys.
tell me.
But yeah, I mean, just try and logically hash it out with yourself that, you're basically just putting off doing something that if it really is that important, you're going to do anyway. So why not just do it now? And typically procrastination is things that have a due date of some kind. Now, it doesn't have to be an assignment. It's usually what we're talking about at our age, but it doesn't have to be that. But usually things that you procrastinate over have a due date or a date that you would like to have them done by. And so it's just best to do things early logically because it gives you more time in between to make sure everything's solid.
Okay.
Right? If you have something due Friday and you start it Thursday, right, you're probably going to be more stressed and there's going to be less quality in it than if you had started it Monday or find it a little Tuesday or find it a little Wednesday, finished it all up maybe Thursday, and then submitted it Friday feeling good. Or even better yet, submitting it like Monday or Tuesday and then not having to worry about it.
That's true.
Because it's already done. It's kind of a load off your mind when you're able to say, no, I already got it done. You know, I got this done a week in advance or something,
Okay. That's true, Adrian. You know what? Respect, man.
Yeah. By the way, I don't do that.
Yeah, we'll do that later. Yeah. Here's another thing,
we'll do it later.
For all my other audience out there that may be thinking, yeah, I'll do that later, though, Adrian. Like, I'll do that later. You look at this whole thing you have to do.
Yeah.
And it's scary. You put it off, and then you get stressed out later. That happens a lot, especially to me. And don't worry, I have a great idea.
Okay.
Let's try this out. Adrian,
I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
Here's what I do.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
too shady your idea. Let me add on to it. Let me make it the full lunchable here, okay?
Got it. Full lunchable.
It's all about building little momentum. Like what? Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Let me give you a quote.
Please.
You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great.
Makes sense.
Or get started. Christian Kate. Here's the thing, guys. You have to get it done eventually. So I know it can be daunting. It can be. I'm going to address the audience real quick. If that's okay with you, Adrian.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a little scary. And I know it is scary when it comes to college, doing things, doing tasks, anything that might make you want to procrastinate. Maybe because you don't want to do it. You don't want to deal with, the emotional or mental angst that it comes with it. Maybe whatever you're feeling, it's scary. But the best way I can think of to combat this is to chunk it up. But before you chunk it up, I suggest just getting started about anything. Let me give you an example. So I had to write an essay for English recently, and it was not fun, and I didn't like the book. It's Inferno, Dante's Inferno. Where he goes through hell, and all these people are just complaining about being in hell. And it's like, I'm in hell.
Yeah, I actually had to do something for that.
Yeah? Yeah. So you guys know the story. It doesn't matter. I didn't want to write this book. I didn't want to write this paper. Write it. Yeah, the whole book, because not only did I understand it, but I just didn't want to deal with the emotions that were a part of writing it. So,
got it.
Due to some time of self-reflection, all I said was, okay, Christian, you know what? I know I'm going to have to do this eventually, and I understand that it's scary. Just say that to yourself. Show yourself some compassion. Say, I know it's scary. It's daunting. You don't want to deal with that. I get it. But you're going to have to do it eventually. But it's okay. Just do something to first get you started. For example, building an essay. I don't have to write the whole essay at once in one day, which is what I try to do sometimes. Voice type, exactly. It's been helpful, but emotionally it's not that good. So at least I'm going to get started by at least I'm going to open a document, and at least I'm going to title it. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
First, I'm not going to worry about writing the first sentence yet. I'm going to just open the document first.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to that whole goals thing.
Yes.
Right? Of making sure that you have the goal in mind and then putting stuff into place, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to read this many chapters. Like,
exactly.
I'm going to title it. I'm going to open the freaking doc and start.
And chunk it up based on how bad you don't want to do it. You could be like, oh, wait, like when it comes to writing goals, like, oh, gosh, I really don't want to write my goals today. First, just,
I really don't want to write my goals today.
Pick up a pencil, man. Literally, do whatever you need to do to make the small. There's this video where it's like this super small, minute. Is that what you call it? I'm asking a bunch of minute domino, and it's just each next domino is just just slightly bigger than the next one, and then it leads to this whole row from one end to the end, and it's eventually this huge domino. And all it started was from that one small one, leading up to small percent changes.
Like a snowball effect.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly, the snowball effect. So, really simple. Just get started. Another example. What's another one? Work. I don't know. You don't want to go to work today. That's cool. I just at least get out of bed.
Story of my life.
Story of our lives. Work.
Fun times.
You know what? Work can be fun, but sometimes it's a Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah. And you just don't want to get out of bed. Yeah. At least, first be like, it's okay. And at least get out of bed. Or maybe you don't want to, I don't know. You don't want, what's another example of things you don't want to do? Cooking or something.
Sure. I mean, really, it could be anything. It could be, the whole point of procrastination is putting off something that, you should do. And I think maybe one of the best things you can do to motivate yourself is to kind of
do something that's easily achievable. Right?
Do that, and then also on top of that, realize the rest of it, right? Procrastinating is not doing something, putting off doing something that you should do. Mm-hmm. So there's a part of that should be done.
Yeah.
So focus on the whole aspect that this thing I'm procrastinating on is actually something that's not indifferent or anything. It's actually something I should do.
Yeah, exactly. And they go hand in hand with each other.
Yeah, so it's like, try and put value on the things that you're procrastinating about, because the more value something has to us, the far more attractive it is to do, even if it's hard. Mm-hmm. Right? Working out isn't easy, but if your goal is something that you value, then you're going to work toward it, right? So place value on the things that you want to procrastinate on, and then you're probably not going to procrastinate as much because the value's gone up, and when value goes up,
that's true.
You care about it more. Mm-hmm. Typically we procrastinate about things that we couldn't care less about, right? Because I'd rather do this. But if you'd rather do something that you usually procrastinate on because you value it, then you've kind of flipped the script essentially.
Yeah.
And now you're doing something productive instead of, not even necessarily unproductive, but you're doing something that's maybe more important than whatever else you're doing.
So that's a good point, man. I think, so chunk it up. That's the next thing I'll cover later. But I think when it comes to getting the push, chunking and getting started, but with Adrian, I think he had a good idea about placing emphasis on the value and realizing long term that you're going to have to do it eventually, which is kind of the pull of it. Yeah. So, I mean, those two kind of go hand in hand. But I think that's cool, man. I never knew that. I never really asked you that.
What, on procrastination?
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
Until tonight.
This is when
Let's go. Get started, chunk it up, place value on the important things, right?
Yeah. Don't... another thing, too, because I'm guilty of this as well. Most of these things I think we're guilty of. And that's why we're having a hard time talking about it, because we haven't fixed it exactly. But basically, what's new, right? Don't wait for a perfect time or a perfect moment to do something. Like, don't wait until, like, okay, I'll start this, but only when the time is right. Only when I'm in the mood to do it, or only when, the temperature is right in my house, the sun's at this level, because I don't like working when the sun's in my face. Like, those little things that people say, I'll wait until, like, conditions change, right? I think it's beneficial for people to just learn in general, not even just for procrastination, but just in general, to be like, hey, you don't need to wait for things to be perfect, because they're never gonna be perfect. There's always gonna be some kind of little imperfection in your life that's nagging you or something. Like life isn't perfect. That's the whole point. So, whatever that view is, I mean, the fact of the matter is it's true, and that's... People who get stuff done ultimately are people who just do stuff regardless of whatever the circumstances. They're not gonna try and make their life great when life starts to get great. They're just gonna start even if their life sucks, right?
Yeah. So regardless of what's happening,
or your circumstance, don't. And not just for procrastination, right?
Yeah,
but not even for that, is just don't wait to do things that are important to you, and don't wait to live life the way it should be lived when you're trying to wait for this, like, opportune moment that just never comes.
It's funny.
You're never doing anything to make that happen.
It's funny you say that, because when you say that, I think of when we talked about the one we got some good feedback on was our advice from being Christians. Oh yeah. And one of them was like not waiting to feel a certain way to act in like a relationship.
Right. When don't base your faith on your feelings.
Yeah. So I think that's a good one too. Because I think a lot of people don't really realize the idea that when you do that of waiting for a feeling or waiting for a person or an event to happen or come along, it's really never. You're always going to find a reason, right?
Exactly. So your mind is always looking for a reason to take an easy route, because your brain, especially in our day and age, because in our culture that we live in, I'm talking about the American culture, but largely the Western culture and modern culture in general, is that the emphasis on life is whatever makes you happy and whatever makes you comfortable. And more often than not, what makes you happy and what makes you comfortable is not what makes you productive or successful. So you have to face the necessary evils and the necessary obstacles, right, in order to actually achieve goals long term. Like, that's the way you live your life. You don't live your life by basically doing everything the easy way. You want to do things the smart way, but it's not always the easy way. So procrastination basically says, I'm going to take the path of least resistance until I absolutely have to, and circumstances force my hand to, do this thing I don't want to do.
That's even then when you really dislike it, and it makes you want to procrastinate. Exactly. Even more like a school assignment, when you put it off and you're like, okay, I remember how I felt when I did this. I don't even want to do it even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I really don't want to do it. When it gets there, it just gets multiplied, and then
Yeah, and so what ends up happening when you procrastinate is basically you wait until circumstances force you to take action.
Yeah.
Whereas you could actually just take charge of your own life and take action yourself and then have things work for you instead of you having to work for them when it's inconvenient or difficult or stressful, night before, right? We've all been there, right? Writing an essay the night before it's due or the day it's due. We've all been there, so that's fun. A minute
before it's
oh yeah.
Voice time.
Like, but especially when you gotta like format it and stuff. Oh gosh, bibliographies. But yeah, anyways,
that's
main points on procrastination is that it's not worth it. We all know, and that's the funny thing about procrastination. We all know it's not worth it, but we still do it
anyway.
Yeah. So basically, the main thing with procrastination is it is a mental thing. It's a purely mental thing. So it has to be dished out. Like habits are mental, but they're also physical, right? You build muscle memory and that kind of a thing.
That's a good one.
But procrastination, that's just in here.
Yeah.
So you got to dish it out here, in order for it to actually show outwardly. But
dude, that's solid. That is solid. Most of these things are mental, pretty much.
Yeah. And do you ever realize like we give this advice in our lives still,
It's still good advice.
It's still good advice, but
take good advice. And I think it's the fact that we can relate and give these examples of this and this and this, even though we might not always do them or might not, whatever. I mean, it's
what we've learned from the mistakes, I would say. I'd say that we know the mistakes that we've made.
Not that we...
and we try and basically improve ourselves based on the principles that we know to be true and based on the experiences that we've had. And so basically all this is us trying to figure out how to better ourselves and also better you. So it's all a learning process, but I would say just try and keep those things in mind.
Yeah.
I think that's beneficial.
Yeah.
All right. So next portion, how to build habits. Smooth transition there.
Yeah. Exactly. So
anyways,
I guess this is the real part.
Disregard everything else.
Adrian, let's just keep it light, bro.
All right.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What is your favorite habit? Hang on, wait. Hold up. What is your favorite? No. What's your
favorite habit?
Wait.
Sleep, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Sleep.
Okay, never mind. Not what.
Was that a habit? Yeah, maybe.
What is your key advice to building a good habit?
My key advice to building a good habit would just be, building a habit is consistency. And so if you want to build a habit that's going to last, I think this was in one of the intermissions recently, which is that whole, how to read the whole Bible cover to cover.
Yeah,
like start with the book of Proverbs, read a chapter of the book of Proverbs every day, for like a month. And then, if you do that, you will have built up the consistency necessary to read the entire Bible, right? So I think the message there is that I forget what the time frame is, but like there's a certain time frame that they did studies on where if you do something for a certain amount of time, like 30 days, 60 days or something like that, it becomes a habit, right? So what I would do is I would just challenge myself or challenge any of you to stick to a habit for at least 30 days or 60 days or something like that. Yeah. At least 30 days, I would say at the minimum 30 days. And 30 days really can't hurt you too much if you're willing to try something, right? If you're thinking about that's 1/12 of the whole year, really. So if you have a certain habit that you want to build it over the course of a month by committing 30 days approximately to just do that thing regardless, right? And then if at the end of that 30 days you found that habit has improved your life, keep it. Keep it the next 60 days and then keep it the next 90 days. But if you found that habit has been unuseful and unhelpful in your life, then disregard it and hop onto a new one.
Okay.
Right? Because so you wasted a month, right? Some people waste years of their life because they're into bad habits. So it's better to waste a month figuring out what you're good and bad habits are, to then carry those throughout the rest of the way.
That momentum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see you. Good one.
I would say that's step 1.
Step 2 is reduce friction.
Reduce friction.
Reduce and increase friction. So we're trying to build a habit.
Yeah.
In this case, maybe that is not eating as much or losing. I know weight and gaining, losing, working out is kind of a common one, because especially these days, it's the first thing that comes to my head. But hopefully you can draw your own examples from what I'm about to say.
Right.
Things that increase the friction of reaching your goal of losing weight. Maybe having snacks like right there, like in arm's reach of anywhere. Yeah, I want to like lose weight, and a hard way to do that is when you have like maybe a bowl of snacks like on that little table between you and the TV right there, or get rid of it. Get rid of everything that gets in the way of you building a goal. Something that can kind of reduce that friction is maybe I don't know. Not only getting rid of those, I guess that kind of goes 2 ways. Getting rid of the things that aren't good for you and making it easier for you to do those things. So a way of reducing friction also is maybe the next day already having your clothes laid out for the gym, like when you wake up, so you don't have to spend time thinking about what you're going to wear. That reduces friction, increases friction. Maybe I don't know, you have some form of a distraction that kind of prevents you from going to the gym, or trying out this new meal that would be good for you. Getting rid of all those and replacing it with things that are going to help you out. Like that was an example. Another one maybe, I don't know. One thing you want to be more active when it comes to having, like being involved in like service stuff, like like being involved in like a
it's like a tsunami in that.
Yeah, it's like in a church, or what are those like nonprofit organizations, like where they need volunteers for stuff, and you want to be involved with that.
Volunteer work and stuff.
One way that increases friction, maybe you have other things on your schedule right now that might take up some of that time that you could use instead. So maybe get rid of that. And one way to reduce friction is maybe have a friend be accountable for you, one that maybe already goes there. And next time you could just say, hey, like, let me know next time, like hit me up, or you can come to make it easier. I would appreciate it if, like, at least for the first few times or this time, come over to my house and drive out in front, and that way I'll be waiting for you. So it'll make me more likely to do these things. So reducing friction and replacing it with, is that what you say, lubricant? A lubricant? But I don't think
that makes it sound far weirder.
Yeah, I know.
Than it probably has
Not
to
lubricant.
Be.
What is it? But that's okay.
I know
at its lubricant, something that makes it more
smooth.
Smooth. Something like oil.
Smooths out the road bumps.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a key thing when it comes to
I agree.
building goals. But I think good one too, Adrian.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like getting rid of the excess weight that you don't need. Just kind of letting that go for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, ultimately, building habits takes time. So I would say also be patient. Be aware of the fact that you're going to have to be patient and wait, and it's not going to happen overnight. And that kind of goes with the procrastination thing too, or not the procrastination thing, the setting goals thing. Yeah. Right? Because those long-term goals or even the midterm goals, those are going to all take time. Yeah. And your goals are going to rely on your habits. And your habits are going to rely on you not procrastinating. So having all 3 of these kind of in line, I held up 4. It's 3. Wow. Having all 3 of these things in line work together to help improve your life. Right? So it's almost kind of one of those things where if you're good at 2 but not the other, you're still kind of doing a disservice to yourself. So, one battle at a time, but optimally you want to make sure that all 3 of these areas are pretty solid. Yeah. In order for you to get to where you want to go.
Our friend Lucas, he does a really good job at explaining ways that you can build better habits and recognizing which habits are detrimental versus beneficial towards your goals and just your overall well-being. So Lucas Martin, if you're watching this, thank you, man. Or reach out to Lucas Martin. You'll find him somewhere. He's on he's on the website for the Guest Hall of Fame. So if you guys know him, cool guy. And
we should have him back on.
Yeah, we should.
That'd be cool.
Philosophical questions with Lucas Martin. I like that.
we
So
review Jordan
yeah.
Peterson's 12 Rules for Life here in the Art
Who?
of Awesomeness.
Who's Jordan?
Jordan Peterson.
Who's that?
He's a professor at the University of Toronto. He's pretty good.
Okay. So let's see. Let's recap. What did we do today, Adrian? We first talked about.
So basically, we first went over how to, I believe it was, prioritize goals, maintain focus on goals. That's what it was.
Bye.
Maintain focus on goals.
Bye. Next.
Procrastination, and then finally,
Bye.
what we just talked about right now,
Bye.
which was being. No, anyways, which is being able to, really. Well, how do you sum it all up? What does it all actually lead to? I guess
Procrastination, goals, how to what was the other one? Build better habits. These are tools that we hope to give you guys for you to achieve whatever it is.
Yeah, I guess life. I mean they all
Self-tools.
kind of work for improving your life. Really, it's just kind of a general. Yeah, I mean, your life really is kind of dependent, and your contentment in life is really dependent a lot on you and what you bring to the table, because life is always going to be in some ways unfair and in some ways harsh, and let's be fair, life is beautiful and life is great and worth living, but it comes with challenges and negative things that are designed basically to kind of hold you back.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of mistakes that people make is that they look for those elements outwardly where they are, but they don't tend to look inwardly that there are actually problems in you that are holding you back. And so being able to get rid of some of these issues in your life to improve, your procrastination and get rid of that, and then, improve maintaining focus on your goals, and then, building good habits and stuff like that. That's all working to kind of counter all of the road bumps or friction in your life and just smoothing it out for you. So
there you go. The tools that you need that hopefully we gave off well to you guys. There's plenty more. We might do this again in the future because there's obviously a lot more things that you can do for you to achieve whatever goals you have, and we want to help you guys with that. So but I mean, is there anything else you want to add to that? I
would just say that, obviously this wasn't a question that was sent in, but these are all questions that people on the internet have asked, and plenty of people have had these questions and have brought these up, not necessarily to us, but just kind of out into the world. And so this is just our take on it. But if you like our take, and if you'd want to see our take on other things that are kind of related to this, definitely send them in. We'll read them. We'll have them on the podcast. As we said earlier, you're anonymous until otherwise explicitly said you don't want to be anonymous. So don't worry about anything on that level, because I know people can be embarrassed sometimes. If you want to use a fake email too, that's fine. Yeah,
let us know.
We don't care.
Do it.
But yeah, I would just say I would encourage people to send us more of these kind of questions and advice things that, if you like our opinions and advice on this, then we can help you with another thing. Check more of us out.
Check us out.
So yeah, check us out.
Check out more of us. Check out more of what we have to give on our stuff. Sweet, Adrian. I like that. That was good.
Solid episode.
That's what I like. You know what? I think the camera might have been dead, actually. No, probably not. It was on one bar.
Oh, it was really?
Actually, no. I didn't even check the battery level.
No, it probably is on one bar, but that's fine.
No, it's fine. I have faith that it's good.
If it is a black screen, we do apologize. But if you can see us, that's great.
No, yeah. Well, we are.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to say thank you again. Next is the verse of the day. Everyone, thank you again so much for tuning in on the 57th episode of the Art of Awesomeness podcast. We are so glad to have you guys on this journey with us, and our viewers out there, our listeners, everyone from different country, this country, Beijing, China, India, Indonesia, Netherlands, Scotland, Italy.
Okay,
Rome.
Half of those places don't listen to us. So
You're about to right now, because folks, we are so glad to have you on this journey with us. And as always, we're open to any suggestions. But let's get right into verse of the day, Ephesians 1:19 through 20.
Ephesians.
Let me wait for you. Let me just do it.
And
what is exceeding greatness of his power to usward who believe, according to the working of his mighty power, which he wrought in Christ when he raised him from the dead and set him at his own right hand in the heavenly places. Amazing. What is exceeding power greatness? Okay. Unbelievable. What does this mean, Adrian? Here's what I think.
Okay.
Bible verse telling me about God's glory and things he's done, such as raising his own son up from the dead. Like, dang, that's crazy.
That's pretty wild.
This Bible verse is telling me that there's nothing that Jesus or God can't do in your life.
That's true.
No area where he can't fix. And like we said in some videos before, there's no area that is completely powerless to God. There's no area where he can't enter your life through his own grace and make it better because he loves us that much. But we have to let him in. He knocks at the door, and we have to let him in.
Yeah, we have to be. See, God is a God in the Bible who, if you reject him or if you don't want anything to do with him, he's fine of like just kind of giving you over to whatever you want to do and let you fail at that, right? Because at least the God of the Bible is a God of free will. He allows us to have free will, which means that he allows us to make stupid decisions if we decide to reject him. He's obviously going to reach out. He's reached out. I mean, if you read the Bible, you know God has reached out countless times to people throughout history and even now. But people are going to be people, and people are going to basically say, "No, I don't need that," and then reject it and reject wisdom and decide to just kind of lean into their own understanding, as the Bible says, and then not trust God with what he has to say about things, right? So I think that Bible verse just shows that God can do amazing things through people, but those people have to want to be willing to actually do that, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's the whole free will thing. Yeah. So be open to God actually working in your life and, you know, allow those good things to happen, but you have to be open to it and you have to be willing to, you know, hearken unto
do that,
the voice of the Lord. So there you go. Exactly,
guys. We are so glad. And when I searched for Bible verses today, it was that corresponded with when you feel like, what was it, like you need, like you're at a power shortage or something. I think that just really emphasizes the idea that there's, like, God packs a punch. Spiritually, physically, like wherever, there is no area, again, where God can't reach you. And don't be afraid of letting him in by his own grace and seeing the amazing results that is to come by it. Don't be afraid of him not being able to do something.
Yeah.
Don't put limits on an unlimited God.
There you go.
Dang. I should be a pastor.
They read the whole thing first.
Be a pastor. Well,
yeah. Any hope for the pastor dream just died right there. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? I had a good episode, Adrian. I had a good time on this good episode, Adrian.
Good episode.
Thank you so much. I know it's Halloween. Let us know what you guys did. Let us know. I know
it's
we've
November
got some
now.
Good feedback on
also,
Halloween.
let us know
episode.
how you like whole daylight savings thing. How you like that?
Wait, it starts today?
When this comes out today, yeah. Ching.
Well, Adrian.
Oh well.
Hashiana. Bye.
Thank you guys for watching this episode. Thank you for watching the 57th episode of the Art of Awesomeness podcast. We hope that you gained something from this episode. And we will see you next time. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll see you later.
Well,
okay.
You know, it is what it is. Bye.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day. Okay. Good night. Or day. Night. Whatever.
All right. Okay.
It is,
bye.
You know?
Okay. Fine.
So,
okay.
you know,
okay,
bye. Have a good one.